let's talk inadequacies. And inadequacies from the standpoint of dealing with real political problems that people face and people deal with. I've argued that the release valve, in the way that Chris Hedges say, of the capitalistic system is supposedly the Democratic Party. But what happens when the Democratic Party is comically, laughably, sadly inadequate at the task that's presented to them? Welcome to the Soapbox. My name is Jamarl Thomas. This is the Progressive Soapbox. And going back to what I was talking about earlier, back in July 2018, and by the way, before I get into the show, if you guys dig what I'm putting down, you find yourself coming back here often, please consider sharing, liking, supporting the content through PayPal or Patreon. Even $1 helps. They have been going after these channels with demonetization, so even $1 helps. Let's do the news. Back in July 2018, one Pfizer drug company, capitalistic organization who seeks to maximize their profit, selling drugs to do so, increases their drug costs. Now, I say, of course, capitalistic system, capitalistic enterprise, why wouldn't they increase their drug costs? It's the way they make their profit. And of course, it's something that you can't live without, right? Here's this diabetes medication. I can take this up 200%. What are you going to do? Go without your diabetes medication? That answer is yes. A lot of people do. You're still going to get it. You're just going to ration it. But we're still going to make our profits. Donald Trump didn't like this. Donald Trump browbeat Pfizer. Tweets like this. Even phone calls. And Pfizer rolls back its increases. Literally. Roll back their increases. Just talk with Pfizer CEO Sek Azar. A drug price blueprint. Pfizer is rolling back price hikes so American patients don't pay more. We applaud Pfizer for this decision and hopes other companies do the same. Great news for the American people. Now, that is not a total solution. That's nothing. But from a standpoint of optics, it looks like the President of the United States is doing something no other Democrat ever did, at least not in our lifetime, going after a capitalistic enterprise for gouging the American public. That's what it is. That's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. Pfizer rolls those prices back. Now, sad day for Trump. It is a capitalistic enterprise. And what do you know? What do you know? Drug giant Pfizer announced on Friday it would increase its list price of 41 medicines in January, just months after it agreed to temporarily roll back the price hikes under pressure from Donald Trump. Now, this video is not about Trump. It's not about Pfizer. Kinda. Elizabeth Warren responds to this. Pfizer promised it wouldn't raise prices, then turned around and raised them anyway. We can't count on drug companies to tackle rising costs, so Congress must. Uh-oh. Yes, I'm feeling something awesome about to take place. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? It's like a buildup of a song. You know, there's those songs where it's like the band is kind of getting into it and the audience is like, yes! And you know something amazing is about to take place and he's like, yes! It's like a buildup. It's a buildup. It's a buildup. She's building up. Something awesome is about to take place. Something awesome is about to take place. Give it to me, Liz. Give it to me, Liz. Pfizer promised it wouldn't raise prices, then turn around and raise them anyway. We can't count on drug companies to tackle raising drug costs. So Congress must. Congress must. We could start by passing my bill to put $500 monthly cap on what families must pay out of pocket for prescriptions. What? What? What are you talking about? We must start by passing my bill to put $500 a month cap on what families pay out of pocket. And the buildup falls flat. And the audience stands around wondering what happened. There was such a good buildup. What happened? What happened? What happened? The drummer keels over with a heart attack. The lead singer gets Ebola and dies on stage. $500 a month? Have you lost your mind? Who can afford $500 a month? Do you realize that when they did research on this stuff, most families, most in the country, the majority, didn't have $500 in the bank, meaning a $500 expense would wipe them out. Would wipe them out. Half of the country is living paycheck to paycheck. And you believe that in the context of a country living paycheck to paycheck, that $500 a month is something epic and awesome. God, you're sad and inadequate. That's a massively inadequate solution. Massively inadequate. This is supposed to be the lefty in the race, but she did say she's a capitalist. And laughed at democratic socialism. How inadequate you are. You're massively inadequate. You know, when I was back in 2008, I lost my job, meaning lost my health insurance. At the exact same time, I lost Medicare. Because if you get a transplant, 3 years after you get a transplant, you have Medicare. It's like they say, look, we give you enough space to figure out whether or not you can make it on your own without it. It's like it's like leeway. And just so happened that leeway ended at the exact same time that I ran out of my job. Why did I lose my job? I was in a hospital. My kidney failed at that moment. Think about that. You have a transplant for like 3 years. And the moment that Medicare ends is when the kidney fails. When the kidney fails. I at that point, it's this weird situation of, okay, you supposedly get Cobra, but Cobra is like $500-$600 a month. You don't have a job. How are you paying $500-$600 a month? Even if you have money in the bank, $500-$600 a month is going to eat you blind. And you're still in the situation where you don't necessarily want the kidney to reject, even if the kidney isn't necessarily working. And so you still need to take the medication, which is $300-$400 a medication, depending upon the medications that you take, meaning the immunosuppressants. It is an astonishing thing to hear. Meaning, I don't know who can afford that. I know of no one that can afford that. And many of the people that I know would be considered middle class, some poor, but still in that middle class quasi thing, I don't know who can afford $500 a month. And what I would guarantee you, Elizabeth Warren, is that if your bill passed, what you would have is not people getting medicine. You would have people skipping medicine just like they do now because they wouldn't be able to afford it. This is Elizabeth Warren at the Poor People's Campaign. Does she believe that half of the country could afford $500 a month under the bill that she's putting out here as if it's some solution to anything? This is astonishingly mundane for one Elizabeth Warren. Astonishingly mundane. And by the way, she will be taking money after the primaries. So don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. She's not Bernie Sanders. Bree Hood. Over half of Americans cannot afford $400 emergency. What makes you think you can handle $500 a month for medication? You're so out of touch, Elizabeth, and not at all qualified to meet the needs of average people. Yes, that's true. Walker Bragman. 40% of Americans can't cover a $400 emergency expense. Can you cover an unexpected $400 expense? 4 in 10 Americans can't, according to a new report from the Federal Reserve Board. $500 a month. $500 a month. That's awesome. I don't know any family that can even afford that. Helen Fisher. It's not even angry, just resigned. Just resigned. I don't know who could afford that. Who can afford that? I don't know. I don't know either, Helen. Elizabeth Warren seems to think people can, though. I'm not going to keep this long. I saw this and I thought, wow, how sad that is. How mundane that is. How radically, insufficient that is. One, Elizabeth Warren. One, Elizabeth Warren. Radically insufficient drug policy. That's amazing. Do you realize even the policy that Donald Trump put forth might be better than what Elizabeth Warren has just said here? Because at one point, Donald Trump was talking about tying the cost of drugs to other countries. socialist countries. Not all drugs, a section of drugs. $500. I can't believe she's... How much do you think somebody pays for heart medication? Or for kidney medication? Meaning, like people having transplants. Or cancer medication, diabetes medication. Like, and those things pile up. And you're talking about somebody, especially somebody who's elderly, who's older. And that stuff starts to pile up in a list of things. You're assuming that they're going to have health insurance. You're assuming... I'll leave this here. I don't want to complain. Based on my own medical history, though, and based on having lived through the period of time where I was had a decent job, relatively decent job, and when you have bills like that, from my own experience, you just don't get the medicine. Why would you get the medicine? You're choosing between, okay, I have to pay rent. I have to pay this bill. I have to pay my car note. Ugh, I need this. You just don't get it. And even my own household, my wife was in a situation where she had a medical issue and she goes to have a procedure done. And because of the expense of the procedure, it wasn't even the right procedure. They end up charging her for it, in which case, what she needs to go now and figure out, I'm not doing it. And you could say, well, dude, that's your health. Yeah, it's your health. It's also bill. And Elizabeth Warren is saying it's okay for people to be paying $500 a month. That's astonishing. That's the lefty in the race. I can go on with this. I mean, but I'm not. I'm going to end this here. Elizabeth Warren, $500 a month. Don't believe me. Her tweet is right here. You're going to have a bunch of people saying, Elizabeth Warren is not that bad. Elizabeth Warren is like Bernie Sanders, blah, 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 blah. She wants you paying $500 a month. Fair weather friend Elizabeth. Thanks all.